Whenever you all are ready. So I'd go ahead and start her.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm a little late. I'm looking for the link to get to the documents online. So that's what's going on. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think Eliza also resent it or can send it through the chat too, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that would be great if you could send it in the chat. So much easier. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Paula Schumacher, Chair. It looks like our first order of business is to review the minutes from last time. If we all take a few minutes, and then if anybody wants to indicate changes or a motion to approve. Paula Schumacher, Chair. Does anybody have any, is everybody seeing it okay? Could you give me a thumbs up if you're following the link okay? Right. Todd, do you see it okay?
I'm having trouble.
Okay.
But this is my phone, I think. All right, I'm gonna try again.
It's all right. Technical difficulties. It happens all the time. No worries.
Okay.
And Eliza has them up on the screen too, if that's
okay.
helpful. This one right here.
Great.
Just tell me when to scroll.
Could you, do you want to share that view? Or if you want, I could share it.
Yeah.
There we go. That's great. Thank you.
Yep.
Paula Schumacher, Chair. Does anybody wish to discuss any of this? Is there any discussion? Right. Well, now I can't see their faces.
I'll stop sharing. There you go.
Paula Schumacher, Chair. I'm not hearing any discussion. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve that report or the minutes of the last meeting?
Hi, I'm Kim McDonald. I make a motion that we approve the meetings for our last meeting.
Do we have a second?
Board Member Allison Dischinger, I second.
Paula Schumacher. Let's see, we have to vote vocally, right? Allison Dischinger, how do you vote?
Board Member Allison Dischinger, yes.
Kim McDonald, how do you vote?
Kim McDonald, board member, I vote yes.
Todd, how do you vote?
Todd Wyatt, board member, yes.
Paula Schumacher votes yes. That's unanimous. That passes. So we have approved our last minutes from the last meeting. The next item is public comment. Can you tell me, Elisa, is there anybody in the room for public comment?
We have nobody in the room. Let's see.
Or online? I don't think, do we?
No.
Okay. Next item, what? Unless one, no, we would have new business, right? Okay. The next item is old business. Oh, right. Which was, I don't think that we have anything to do on the city commission on the legislative priority statement. I don't think there's any action on that. I don't believe.
This is Sherry Reed, and City Clerk. So we didn't have any this week. We kind of removed the old business because if there were follow-up items, it would just be an agenda item. So all we have is the agenda item and then any new business that would come up.
So I'm looking at the wrong tab. Sorry, my bad. Okay. Right. Right. So the new business, looking at the correct tab, is going to be just definitely we have the Bodywork Practitioner report.
Yes, and Eliza will go ahead and share her screen and kind of walk through that, and then you all can either ask. We can pause and ask questions as we go, or you can ask at the end. But she'll go slowly through that.
Thank you.
And I'll just, while she's pulling that up, just give a little background. At the last meeting, early on in that first year, we did a couple reports on this. I think once the first 2 years, and then we gave some numbers at the last meeting, and you all had asked just for some more comprehensive information broken out sort of by year to just sort of, and since we have a new board member, to just sort of briefly go through a little bit of the history of the license.
All right. So the first slide we have here covers the adoption of the Ordinance 9305 in 2018, which was the formation of the regulation of bodywork practitioners at a city level. We made that effective September 1, 2018, with an 18-month registration grandfather clause in there. That was slated to end March 1, 2020, but we extended that till April 10th, 2020 in response to the pandemic, just to give people some more time. And then in early 2020, the board and staff worked on updates to the bodywork section of code, which we finalized in June of 2020 and took to the city commission. They adopted that in July And the two big items that were included in that update was the repeal of the registration or grandfather status. We did that just because applicants were confused by that language when they were coming in, being that it was no longer allowed for at that point. It was confusing in the application process. And then we also made some clarifying changes for any potential code violation that would occur. And then at the last meeting, you asked for a slide that had definitions to what the statuses are in our licensing system. So that's what this slide is. I can go over them one by one, or
yes, please, Paula Schumacher. Maybe just so we can have questions, just in case, to clarify the definitions.
So in our licensing system, an active license means that that person has met all the requirements of a license application. They're in good standing. Okay, by us, we've issued their license. When we've closed out a license, that means that applicant did not complete the process and they didn't communicate with us as to why they didn't complete the process. We have outreach we do before we close it out, but that one is different from expired, and I'll get to that in a second. Denied means they did not meet the license requirements. So we processed the application, they applied entirely, but they were denied for whatever reason. Expired, that would be somebody who comes in, applies for a license, and then they never renew it. And then when we revoke a license, that's a violation of the license requirements. And somebody who withdraws their license, they stop their license process for whatever reason. So that's before we issue the license, they withdraw it, usually give us a reason as to why they're doing that, which is different from closed or expired. Any questions on those? So we were trying to give you guys a better picture of our overall licensing. We have processed 242 applications, and then we broke out by year how many we've issued. You can see those numbers. And that also includes renewals.
So just to clarify, not all of those are new licenses added each year. They're 2 years licenses, and they're effective from the date of issuance. So we have people renewing, all the time. That's how many how many applications were submitted. Again, some are new and some are renewal.
One more slide. Okay, and then this is the current status of all the licenses in our system. And that is the end of the report. So I would welcome any questions or conversation.
Allison Dittinger, board member, I do have a question. So looking at the previous slide, what I'm gleaning is it's a 2-year renewal, but we don't all have the same renewal date. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense now looking at those numbers. Thank you.
Yes.
Paula Schumacher, Chair. So the 2022 number looks rather low, so it could be that we're only halfway through the year.
Yes.
Allison Dittinger, board member, is there a way to, I don't know how to say this. Is there a way to, I know this is really detailed, in those numbers to look at, or going forward to look at how many licenses were renewals and how many were new applications? Is that possible?
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a shot at answering that, because we really worked to get to those numbers for you all. Part of the issue is our current licensing system. We are going to be changing to a new system. It's part of our, ERP, and I'm not really, I don't even know for sure what that stands for, but it's a massive software that's going to cover our financial systems. It's a big software package, our licensing system, I think code enforcement too. When we switch over to that, we'll have a lot better reporting. Part of the issue of what we have right now is when we renew a license in the system. So we have when somebody comes in and an application is processed, we have the submit date, the date that we enter that application, they submit in the system. Then we have the issue date and an expiration date. When we send out a renewal and they renew, it renews the license, but it essentially just extends their license another 2 years. So that submit date stays the same as the initial issue date. So it's not like a new license is issued every 2 years. So that's really a struggle for us in reporting based on how we can pull reports based on issue date and submit date. It doesn't let us pull on a renewal date because that renewal is just based on expiration. So it's we can do that better moving forward because we'll try to run those types of reports monthly, but trying to go back and just having submit an issue and expiration date, it's really hard for us to track that. I don't know if that helps answer that question because we really felt like would be more, would give you a better idea of like, are we getting more body workers or is it the same individuals? And we can definitely try to get to that before the next quarter now that we're, having a better idea of how we can pull this information. I don't know how exact it will be until we move to the new system. And again, it's just the limitations of the reporting of the software that we use.
Allison Dischinger, board member. That was very helpful, Sherry. Thank you. And I'm sorry that you're having to go through the headache of new software, but I hope it is really good once you get it implemented. I think that would be a good number to see in the future to see if we are increasing or decreasing total amount of people who are licensed in the city, because that might help us look at trends with different businesses that are coming into town or, even possibly people retiring from the profession. So thank you. I would appreciate that in future.
Paula Schumacher, can I share just a moment?
Share
my screen? A screen, yeah.
Let me stop sharing 1 moment.
Let's see if I can share. Yes, there it is. So I guess this is what I'm more used to seeing, something like this across the years. But if I hear you right, that kind of report would maybe be difficult for you to do.
So we can certainly break we do have we can show what's active in that year, but again, it would be active over all of those years. It wouldn't mean that it's new, but we can certainly, the same license may be active in all of those years. We can certainly try to do that, but if I look at what's active between those dates, I don't know that I'm still going to.
So some things are like you can say how many. And I'm imagining it's a calendar year or a fiscal year. You could tell us fairly easily: closed, denied, expired, revoked, withdrawn, renewed within a calendar year. But active is kind of like at a point in time, right?
Right. That's what's going to be a little more difficult. But
right.
Again, we can start running these monthly and get a better idea, because the way that it's done at a month by month basis, it'll give us a better idea of that than any
right. So maybe what we could do is do a monthly, and then what we could say is maybe for this year by year, we could just do an average, or running average the last however many months. I'm just guessing, right? You can think about what works really best for the data you have. But then for these other ones, we could maybe get that data, and then that might help us to see how things are trending. Does that make sense, Allison, Todd, Kim?
Allison Dischinger, board member. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the capabilities of the new software to see if we can get a little more detailed. If we were all renewing at the same time, it would be very clear, but because it's month by month, I might renew in January and somebody else might renew in March. I can see how that's a bit of a bear. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you all can figure out once you test drive it. That'll be really neat.
Yeah. Paula Schumacher, I would like to see, something broken out a bit more if it's possible. And even if it's a running total or average, that would be fine. Does anybody else have any comments on the report or questions?
And I will say, when Eliza first brought me the reports, ran through them, and we spent more time going through it to try to not paint a better picture, but at least get some sense of what's happening. She did have sort of revoked, withdrawn by year. But again, I didn't feel, and so we can get you that. I just didn't feel like there was really much of a trend in that because, we've had 1 revoked and 2 withdrawn. So but again, if you feel like that's going to provide a level of a trend for you, that information is pretty easy to pull out. And again, she did have that. I really felt like what would show a trend is how many new licenses are we getting each year? But the way our system works, it really doesn't give us still doesn't give us a good idea of how many new licenses we're getting each year. But we can say how many bodywork or how many people are licensed, at specific times throughout that year. So, but we'll certainly keep playing with it.
Paula Schumacher, Chair. I'm a business analyst, and I'm in spreadsheets every day looking at data. So, I just kind of slice and dice it, and seeing it like that is helpful. And I know when you don't have a lot of data, but at the same time, we're at the beginning still. Really, we're just in the first 5 years. So over time, hopefully we won't have very many revoked or withdrawn, but it's still a data point. If all of a sudden we had 20, it'd be like, whoa, right? So definitely over time. And I think we're just kind of building a report for the future. So from that, I think it'd be interesting. And definitely if you want to call me about looking at how to look at the data, I'm very open for that. So
great. Thank you.
Paula Schumacher, Chair. Do we have any other new business? No new business?
Chair, do you mind if I just make sure, that was great information, insight, but is there anything else that maybe besides just number of licenses or information that you all would like, or our new board member, if there are just questions about, I just want to make sure that we provided the report on sort of the data, but if there's anything else about licensure or questions that we can answer or bring to you all moving forward.
Allison, just remember. Oh, you can go ahead.
I'm Kim McDaniel, board member. I do have a question. Do we get informed about specific businesses that are, I guess, problem businesses within Lawrence that offer bodywork? Are we brought into that loop at all?
So there is an appeal process, but that's more if I revoke or deny a license. Mm-hmm. Typically if we hear of issues, and we really haven't, the licensure itself has really sort of done what, the purpose of the program was. As far as we know, and for the most part removed, I think a lot of the businesses that there's issues. We do get calls every now and then, and we will then reach out to see. We'll have someone from PD just stop in to make sure that they have their register and that they have, because the business is required to keep a register, and that the individuals working there are licensed. Again, I think we've had one maybe this year, very minimal, where that's had to happen. So again, you all wouldn't really come in to that because it'd be a code enforcement issue. Mm-hmm. But more if somebody if I revoke or deny a license and someone appeals that to you.
Great. Thank you for your information. Appreciate it.
And then the other thing that's outlined at the board is that if there's information that I need in terms of, I am not an expert on, what is, training and whether somebody's acting within their, their training. And so I can come to the board for that type of guidance.
Paula Schumacher, Chair. In the past, we asked for and got a member of law enforcement to come and talk to us about how they felt the program was going. And we had talked one time about maybe having them come on a regular basis just to say, like, this is working or this isn't working, or what do you think about tweaking things, whatever. Could we have a discussion on if we would want that? I don't know if we could have that added to this report, but did we want to have somebody come yearly or whatever to discuss that? Present that.
I'm Kim McDaniel, board member. I'm just curious with how was the community with the police department before and after the Bodywork advisory board was put into place? Was there a change that happened within the community?
Allison Dishinger, board member. Kim, are you referring to the Bodywork community?
Yes.
I feel that prior to the licensure process and the development of the board, or the instatement of the board, as a community, we developed a positive relationship with the police department and the district attorney. And as far as I know, that has continued to be the case. No, I do not believe that relationship has degraded, but we have not had contact with them because licensure is in place and we really haven't had problems that we're aware of.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
Allison Dishinger, board member. Paula, I would like to say that I felt it has been good in previous years to have someone from the police department, and maybe a detective, to come speak with us about how things are going for them, because this does affect, the ordinance does affect what they have to do out in their job. So I personally would say it would probably be good to hear from them if they have anything to report to us, or even just, hey, it's going fine. So, because it is important as advisors to the city clerk, if something needs to be changed and something in the ordinance is not working for the people who have to affect it, yes, we could be advised about that.
Mm-hmm. Paula Schumacher, Chair. Todd or Kim, do you concur with that or have other views?
Kim McDaniel, board member. I thoroughly agree. I would love to have someone come in and talk to us and see what how things are going, and if it needs to be made better or just a status quo, just to be connected and getting an overall view. I think it would be very good to have.
Todd Wyatt, member. I agree with that. It would be good to get some sort of regular update from the police department.
Paula Schumacher, Chair. So can we just add that, I guess, yearly or biannually?
Yeah, I'll reach out and get something scheduled, and we'll just have it on our calendar that, again, I'll get some input from them on whether they think there would be much to say twice a year or once a year, what would be best. And then we'll get that scheduled.
Thank you. Do we need to vote on that?
No. I mean, you can always make a motion, but I think that's just good direction. It's clear you all are interested in that.
Okay. Is there any other new business? If there's no other new business, our next order of business is to adjourn. I would need a motion and a second.
Todd Wyatt, member. I move to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Okay, now we get to vote. If you'd all vote, Todd, how do you vote?
Yes.
Kim, how do you vote?
Yes, please.
Allison?
Yes.
Paula Schumacher votes yes. That's all in favor of adjourning. The ayes have it, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for everybody's time.
Thank you.